Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Rips Report. I'm your host, Levi Freeman, and this program is brought to you by Eastland County Today, our fine sponsors over at Dental Excellence of Eastland. They're able to take care of just about any dental need that you can think of, and they have years of experience, been in the area for a very long time, and we're very grateful to them. And then also here in Cisco, we have RAM Incorporated. They're celebrating 35 years of aerospace parts manufacturing, and we want to congratulate them on that special milestone and wish them all the best. We are in Cisco, Texas, here at the Legacy Park to talk with Tammy Loran. She is an Alliance for Economic Development member, and she wants to educate us on the upcoming, we have a special election coming up on November 14th and 4th, yes, November 4th. And first of all, could you just briefly tell us a little bit about yourself and your involvement with the Alliance for Economic Development here in Cisco?
Well, first, thank you for having me.
Of course.
I'm Tammy Loran, and I wear many hats in Cisco. My latest is the Alliance for Economic Development, which is a group of businesses, concerned citizens that are in favor of economic development and continuing to grow Cisco.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for your dedication and hard work on that alliance, and we're going to talk about some of that impact that it's had in a little bit. But let's talk about this Proposition A that y'all will be able to vote on if you can here in Cisco. Proposition A, if passed, would eliminate Cisco's 4A and B Development Corporation and shift the total 1% currently allocated to the two branches of economic development towards the city budget. This would result in the city of Cisco receiving a total of 2% of the sales tax collected within the city limits of Cisco. What are your thoughts on Proposition A if it was passed?
Well, I think it could be devastating to our Economic Development Corporation, definitely, and for the growth of Cisco. I think, that was passed in the early 90s to create an Economic Development Corporation. We had both A and B. And you can see the different things that over the years it has done to help continue to grow Cisco. I personally, in my opinion, I've lived here all my life. Mm-hmm. And so I have seen it where it was like a ghost town, very dead. I would say probably at one time 70 to 80% of all the stores downtown were empty. Some of them were burned out. And those were really trying times. And then once the economic development was created through a vote of the citizens that wanted it in Cisco, it took some years to get that off the ground and start seeing some development. Mm-hmm. And especially in the last 20 years, you've really seen a surge in our downtown development, taking old buildings and turning them into beautiful, like Bryn House is a beautiful example. Mm-hmm. That was literally a burned out building. It was just a shell. And the Economic Development Corporation purchased that piece of property and turned that into such a revitalization to downtown Cisco.
Wow. Yeah, that's quite a cycle.
Yes.
that Cisco's been on in its rich history. And obviously the people at the time felt the need, like, we got to change, we got to do something about this.
Correct.
And I could see definitely the worry of, a repeat of history of getting rid of it and coming back. But that's one perspective, But early voting is now active. It's on, and it started on Monday, the 20th of October, and it's running till Friday, October 31st. And where can people go out right now and conduct their early voting, and maybe if there are any changes to those voting locations for the vote on November 4th?
On early voting on October 20th, you can go to our local City Hall and vote from 9 to 5.
Okay.
And that's at 500 Conrad Hilton Boulevard here in Cisco. So that'll run, like you said, through the 31st of October. There will be no late voting. on those particular days here
Okay.
locally. And then on November 4th, which will be a Tuesday, you will be able to vote from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at our First Baptist Church gymnasium, Life Gymnasium, and that's on the corner of 8th Street and Avenue E in Cisco.
Okay.
Yes.
8th Street, Avenue E, right there. You said the Baptist Church.
Baptist Church, First Baptist Church,
First
yes.
Baptist Church, easy enough. So now people kind of know where they can go. For those of you that might not know, what could you explain just the difference in what exactly is Type A and Type B economic development, and what do you think would happen, in those realms if it were to go away?
Cisco was lucky enough to vote on those, like I said earlier, in the early 90s and create both Corp A and Corp B. Corp B has a little bit more flexibility than Corp A does. Corp B allows us to do a lot of sponsorships, with different things like the Pie Fest we just finished. And they just have a little bit easier way of funding different things in Cisco, whereas a Corp A tends to be a little bit more stringent on what we can and cannot do with the funds.
Okay.
I will tell you, a lot of people, I hear it all the time, why can't we take that money and fix roads? Legally, we cannot do that. We can help create a road to a business, but we can't go out and patch the pothole in front of your residential home.
Yeah.
That is against the law.
Yes.
That's the difference between what city can do and what the corporation can do. Cities, their job is for service such as fire and police and water and sewer and infrastructure.
Right.
Whereas the corporation is for job growth, prosperity, revitalizations of towns, and bringing businesses into town. So those are two separate things. And that referendum that is on the ballot for November 4th, like you said earlier, you're either going to vote for doing away with the corporation, or vote against, which means to keep it. And so the wording is very, very wordy, and you have to really read it. And so if you vote either way, vote for means you want to do away with it, vote against means you want to keep it like it is, so that we can continue to prosper in Cisco.
Right. Yeah, no is for the status quo.
Right, yes.
Type of thing. So you talked about this briefly. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on that, your Cisco 4A Development Corporation and maybe B has accomplished over the years, some of the things you're most proud of?
Well, one of the things, of course, we're sitting here right here at Legacy Park, and they played, the corporation, Cisco Development Corporation, played a huge part in that. Over $600,000 has been spent on this park through the Cisco Development Corporation and continues to be spent to this day. They monthly paid the electric bill on this park. They were able to also have the splash pad turned on in the spring because of the CDC by paying for the chemicals for our kids. And it has been a fabulous thing to see children over here and people getting out and visiting and talking and letting the kids play. And so those are some great advantages of what a corporation has done. And you can see this park and what it has really helped for what it's done for Cisco. Not only just for Cisco people, but we get people here from Abilene, people traveling through. So it becomes a tourism type stop.
Yes.
And what we like about that is these people, when they get here, more than likely they're going to have to buy gasoline. More than likely they need something to eat. More than likely they may step into a boutique and buy something. That sales tax money that they collect, a portion of that 1% then goes back to the Cisco Development Corporation, and 1% goes to the city. And so that's why we are able to do what we do, or they do through the corporation, is to continue what you see as this. This is a prime example of that. Over the years, there's been like 52 that we could count, and we only counted that for about 20 years. 52 different projects the Cisco Development Corporation has played a role in. It could be something very small to something like this that they've spent $600,000 on. It could be purchasing property. They own 32 properties, the Cisco Development Corporation does. And I will say this, that the Cisco Development Corporation is kind of like a bank. They're in risk management. So if you were to come to the Cisco Development Corporation and wanted to put in a business, they would ask for things like a financial statement. You would have to have a financial plan. There's you're going to have to jump through some hoops. We're not just going to hand you $10,000 and say, good luck. We're hoping that in good faith, that once you receive, or if you get approved through those steps, and you put your business in, for example, that you can pay your taxes, and that you can keep your doors open, and that you can pay back the money. And some people, like I said, it's a risk management. Some people fall on hard times and they have to close their doors. And we understand that. But like, again, the CDC, that's a risk management. They're a bank. If you were to go to the bank, they do the same thing every single day.
That's right.
But you don't do away with the bank. You still go to that bank every day and put your money in that bank because you have faith in them. And that's what I want people to understand about the economic development, is that, they have done fabulous things. Yes, they have fallen on their face on some projects. But you know what? All of us make mistakes. And all of us go back and get back up and we try it again. And I think, no one is perfect. None of us. And not even in business is anyone perfect. And we can see that with the projects that Cisco, and like I said, has participated in, the Development Corporation. Some of them have been very, very prosperous, and there's been a few that's kind of tanked on us. But we continue to try to build Cisco up and continue to move Cisco forward. That's been a motto of ours for many years, is move Cisco forward. And with this referendum, we feel that it will stalemate that. That if those funds are transferred to the city has not given us, when we've asked questions, what are you going to do with the money? They have no plan. I'm not saying they don't have a plan, but maybe they're just not sharing it publicly. And that's very difficult for me, and I hope for the voters. They understand that if you don't have a plan, and I would hate to hand somebody $3 million and not have a plan with what they're going to do with that money. We do know that money, once if it is transferred, if that referendum was to pass, we understand that money can be used for different things, because it's no longer stringent to the Corp A and Corp B, but now it falls under the city and it goes into general funds. And that general fund can be spent, buying a fire truck if that's what they choose to do. And so I just feel that people really need to understand that if we had definite plans on something, then people might be more in favor of that. But when you don't have a plan in place, it's hard for someone to hand you that money, or do away with it. So.
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, well, we'll just take out fires as they come, maybe.
Yes,
but
exactly.
You want to go in, obviously you want to prepare for fires, but it's just like you want to have a plan for your future.
And you have those line items. The CDC is very good about line iteming things on their budget. They didn't get $3 million in the bank by mismanaging their money by any means. They've managed and they've budgeted very well, and they know what they're doing. They've done it since the 90s, and it has worked really well for Cisco. And we would hope that the voters can see that, and when they go to the polls on November 4th, or if you early vote during this time period, that you really understand the referendum and what the impact it will have on Cisco. Take your feelings out of it, because they didn't help my little Johnny or whatever. But look, what is best for Cisco? what do we want Cisco to stalemate and no businesses come into town and we have no way to promote them any longer? Or do we want to continue to grow Cisco and have people in tourism and be able people to come and enjoy this park that was such a huge part of Cisco, and go to our trails, hiking trails, in which that's another project. The Cisco Development Corporation helped put the bathrooms in out there.
Yeah.
And so, I could name project after project after project of what the Cisco Development Corporation has done throughout the years. And, and I just have a hard time. I just want the voters to understand, be very diligent, because that's your money. Do you just want to hand it over and not know where it's going to go to?
Yeah. Well, thank you for that insight perspective on kind of some of the big projects that the corporation's been a part of. And we do have a follow-up question on, if this Proposition A is passed, how soon do you think it would actually be enacted, and maybe what would happen to the current funds in the corporation's hands? What would happen to that shortly after that?
And I'm not sure I really understand the whole thing of that. I do know, it will be terminated. Then those funds would then be transferred to the city. And I think that's going to take some time to get all that, because there's kind of has to get some ducks in a row, and it's going to have to be a domino effect. Funds will have to be transferred over. It could take, we'll know by, that night if it passes or if it fails.
Right.
And I'm going to say probably by the end of the year, we should know where we stand. I know, but they're going to inherit 32 properties. What are they going to do with those 32 properties? They can't answer that question. They're going to inherit, the checking accounts and the savings accounts and the different things. And again, what are they going to do with that money? They have no answer yet. They have not, when you ask them, they say, well, that has to be passed by the city council, and we have not discussed that yet. So, so it's a little bit of a limbo there. And, but if, like I said, if it does pass and that it is a termination of the Cisco Development Corporation and all that, then will be transferred to the city.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Anything else you'd like to mention before we get into our old RIP-related question?
Well, one thing I want you to know is that you can always follow us on Facebook. It's called Alliance for Economic Development. You can just, when you're in Facebook, just, search that and follow us. You will see we post there daily. All the different, right now we're in Did You Know concept of, and it's showing businesses that the CDC has helped either directly or indirectly. And you'll be surprised, and it shows how much money was spent on it. And you'll also see that the city council approved most every one of those, or they did approve those projects. Okay. And there's a lot of good information there. And it's, you will see more and more coming out in the Alliance for Economic Development Facebook page that is also on Instagram. Okay. You can contact us, contact me personally at 254-631-6501 if you have more information. And then we would certainly hope that you would get involved. And one of the main things is make your voice heard. We want you to get out and vote. Yeah. It's really important for you to utilize that freedom.
Yes.
And we just want you, whatever you think your opinion is, whatever your heart directs you on how to vote, how you're convicted to vote. The point is to get out and vote. And but if you have questions, I would love to visit with you and talk to you about that. And if I can't answer it, I know that Jane Nichols, who is our head of our Alliance for Economic Development, certainly can answer that. One of the things I would like to say, too, is, this isn't about me being just a citizen of Cisco. I've been on both sides. I have been an elected official of the city of Cisco. I served 8 years on the city council. And then I also served on the board. I was board president for the Economic Development Corporation. So I've seen both sides of this. And so it's not about taking sides, but I can see, because I've worked with both sides, I could see where, you know, I'm coming from a situation where I know a lot more than a lot of people, you know, because I've been there and I've done it. And one of the things I was so passionate about as being mayor was being the liaison between the city and the corporation, you know, and we tried to work together and move projects forward. And projects, that's one of the things, you know, there's future projects. And future projects, sometimes they take 2 and 3 years to really get them nailed down. Contracts are difficult. We have to have lawyers involved in it. And so it's not like we can just go and buy a building and we open tomorrow, you know, put an open sign out. A lot of those manufacturings, businesses and corporations that are maybe we might be in the works with, it takes sometimes years to get them here. Right. And one of the things I fear about those things is that if referendum, the Proposition A passes, they may take a second look at us, you know, and say, they're in limbo. They can't, you know, the CDC may go away. Is that I won't have no way of moving my project forward in their town. And right. We don't want that. We want to continue to welcome people to Cisco and welcome their businesses here, and we want to continue to have Cisco thrive. And part of that is through the economic development that we've seen now since the 90s. Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of just something to keep in mind, you know, getting a perspective from, like you said, someone that's worked on both quote unquote sides yes. of this issue, and you know, thinking about, you know, just what's best for, you know, and vote with your heart, vote with yes. your, you know, learn, and, you know, even I'm sure you welcome somebody that would vehemently disagree with you, just Absolutely. To answer questions and concerns. So definitely, you know, do your homework and then go out and vote.
Absolutely.
So getting to our RIP report question here, inspired by old Rip, the legendary horned toad in Eastland. A little bit different question, since you've already been on the show before. What do you think is the key to having a rip-roaring economy in a small town?
Well, with us talking about this, I think having a corporation that promotes businesses and promotes job growth and promotes revitalization, such as the Cisco Development Corporation, we would not be where we are today if it wasn't for the Cisco Development Corporation. And the hard work that has been put in, the groundwork that was laid in the 90s to get where we are today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I'd be interesting to know. I don't know how many places are super successful without, you know, an advocate on their side promoting,
Absolutely.
You know, businesses in their area. Well, thank you very much for answering that question, and kind of you've already plugged your things. Is there one last plug? I know your Facebook.
Yes.
Would probably be one of the best places to come check you out. And so again, just go out and vote, learn some information, and yeah, go out and vote and use your right if you can here in Cisco. We want to thank you so much for your time and dedication and being on today's show. It means a lot to us, and helps local journalism in the process. We also want to thank all of you for watching. If you've liked this video, please like, share, subscribe. It means a lot to us. It helps us out. And we also have all of our other videos. You can check us out on YouTube. We have a backlog of all of our other RIPS reports. So go take a look at those, like, share, and subscribe on those as well. It also helps us. And we want to thank our sponsors, Dental Excellence of Eastland and RAM Incorporated of Cisco. Without them, the show wouldn't be possible. So thank you again. This has been Levi Freeman, your host, with Eastland County Today's RIPS Report. Until next time, stay ripped.